Meanwhile, is the key to success working hard or hardly working? Some Reddit users say the latter, as an anti-work thread, emerges as one of the social network's most engaged pages. That's sad. Encouraging people to quit their jobs or do the absolute minimum to get by at work while still taking a paycheck. Where does America's work ethic go? Can we get it back? Let's ask Fox & Friends Weekend co-host Pete Hegseth. Pete.
Brian, thank you so much. It's a great question. Basic work ethic or just skimming as low as you can go to barely keep your job? Let's ask somebody who knows a little bit about, working very hard himself. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's a biotech entrepreneur and author of the book that many of you have and love, Woke Inc. Vivek, thanks for being here. Look forward to hearing about what you're going to talk about at the summit today as well. But when you look at this idea of work ethic, where has it gone?
Look, I think we've incentivized the loss of work ethic in our country. I often joke around that Biden's most effective job training program was actually training people to stay at home, to pay them to stay at home, and it's worked. And the problem is once you actually take away those unemployment benefits, many of which were, I think, superfluous, entirely unnecessary over the course of the last year, people still don't like to go back to work because they've already become acclimated to this new culture of laziness and to staying home. And we're seeing the loss of productivity in ways that the numbers aren't going to detect. But anyone who runs a company is going to tell you that when people want to work from home or tell you that they're working remotely, they're really, finding a new way to be able to use their time in other ways. And I think that's a loss of productivity.
Accountable in that context. How do you undo that?
Yeah, so look, I think that it's ultimately going to have to come from having our feet held to the fire. This isn't happening in other countries around the world. I don't think that China is paying people to stay home, for example. And I think that actually one of the unintended effects of having people work from home is companies are now going to say, actually, you know what? I can hire somebody more cheaply if I'm going to do remote work anyway to work from another country or even automation. This is going to accelerate those trends. And so I think it's going to correct itself. But ultimately, it's going to be mechanisms that people don't like to say that actually now wages are actually going to go back down because companies are going to wake up and say that if you're working on Zoom, I'm going to get somebody in Eastern Europe, I'm going to get somebody in India, and I think that's going to hopefully bring our culture back.
Wow, the Great Resignation could lead to a generation of a great outsourcing.
I think it's coming, actually. Wow, I think it's coming.
Well, Vivek, we're here for the Miseducation of America Live Summit. So grateful to have you, and you're going to give some special remarks today. If you would, for our audience here on the Fox News Channel, what are you going to be talking about?
So look, I'm actually looking at our history. This is not about politics. We were born as a nation of insurgents, and today we've become a nation of incumbents. And I'm tracing the story of how that happened. And when you look back at our founding fathers, the interesting thing is, if you want to make America great again today, we have to first understand what made America great the first time around. And one of the things I'm talking about today is a topic that's near and dear to my heart: the loss of intellectual curiosity in America. Our founding fathers, this is one of the beautiful things about them, they were some of the most intellectually curious people in the history of humankind. They weren't just geniuses in their own right. There were a lot of geniuses in other parts of the world. The thing that made them unique was to be able to take multiple disciplines and say that, you know what, I don't have to be an expert in something or born as an expert in something. I can become an expert in science, in philosophy, and yes, in running a government too. That was part of the genius of America that we've lost, and I want to see that come back.
Wow, I cannot wait to hear what you have to say here. The summit starts in about 20 minutes live on Fox Nation. By the way, watch America's Newsroom, big interview with Jen Psaki in the 9 o'clock hour on America's Newsroom. And while you're watching that, you can stream Fox Nation on your tablet or your iPhone as well. How about that for a deal? Thank you so much for giving us an opportunity to promote this on Fox & Friends this morning, Brian, and have a good rest of 20 minutes of the show. I know you're going to nail it.
Right. Pete, I did sign off on this at the last minute, and you do owe me a favor. No, I cannot wait for your summit. It's going to be great. If you don't have a subscription, Pete told you this before, but I'm going to jot it down again. Go to foxnation.com right now and sign up using the promo code CLASSROOM for a 90-day free trial. You're going to love this. Great job, Vivek and Pete. Meanwhile,